Hello, hello. Have you ever stayed at a job just a little too long? Like, really wasn't what you wanted to be doing, or the company wasn't going where you wanted to go, but you stuck it out for a while, longer than you should have? Have you ever been in that relationship where you stuck around longer than you should have? Wasn't the love of your life, but it wasn't that terrible, so you just didn't quite end it when you knew that it wasn't the one for you, but you stuck around anyway because it wasn't so bad. Have you ever not gone after something, not gone after a goal, a promotion, something you wanted, because in your head you thought, eh, it's okay if this doesn't happen. I'm okay where I'm at. This is what we do when we are stuck in the good enough cycle, where we rationalize that everything is okay and okay is good enough for us. It's just where we're at. So, my question for you tonight is, when do you get to the point where good enough is not actually good enough anymore? Where you realize that good enough was literally just the lowest minimum bar you set for living your life, for being okay. And how much more are you going to tolerate? How much more of a mediocre job, or a bad relationship, or a terrible boss, or just an overall situation that's just are you going to tolerate before you make a decision to do something different? What does it take for you to choose to do something different? So, welcome. I realize I'm still wearing my glasses. Welcome to Training Tuesday. I am Natalie Hahn, CEO of Dirty Girls Consulting, and I am very happy to have you here tonight to talk about one of my favorite topics. It really is one of my favorite topics because good enough, this idea of things being good enough, is an energy level that I think most of us live in for a really long period of time. And it's part conditioning and it's part choice. Well, it's a large part choice, but a lot of it has to do with conditioning, I would say. And we can move out of it and we can move past it. We just have to choose to. So I want to talk a little bit about how we get to that point and where that point is, because I've been in that job where it wasn't really furthering my career. It certainly wasn't getting me where I wanted to go in my career. It wasn't a bad job. It paid well. I had a good paycheck. It was okay. Oh, sorry, my phone is freaking out here. 1 second. Here we are doing live and my phone is already misbehaving. There we go. So I stayed in the job because it paid well. I stayed in the job because it was comfortable, because honestly, I could do it blindfolded. But it wasn't furthering my career. It certainly wasn't feeding any ambition. I wasn't doing any exciting projects or things that were making me happy. It just was. That's all. It just was. And I stayed in it way longer than I should have, and to the point where I waited until they laid me off. And at that point, I was like, God, what did I stick around for that kind of exit? So, hi, Shelly. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Shelly is the one who actually, we were talking about this earlier last week, and reminded me that this is actually a really great topic, because this is, like I said, this is where a lot of people live. I've stayed in the relationship way longer than I should have. I've done that a couple of times, to be perfectly honest. I stayed in my marriage way longer than I should have. I stayed in a relationship I had after my marriage, my next serious one, way longer than I should have. Way past the point of knowing this wasn't the place for me, and yet still thinking that maybe eventually something might be different, it might change, and it was good enough. It was good enough. Decent enough guy, decent enough time. It was fine. But it wasn't fine. And that's the point I'm getting to tonight. Good enough is never good enough. But we are the queens of rationalization. The human race is really, rationalization is just an amazing, brilliant, evolutionary thing that we do. And we can rationalize everything. If you think about it, we go from, we can talk ourselves into any point of view, and 5 minutes later, talk ourselves into the opposite point of view. On any topic. It can be anything, and we can do this. This is how our brains work. Our brains do marvelous gymnastics when it comes to rationalization. It starts to become what is the point of view that you want it to be, and then we figure out all the pieces. We do this with things as simple as diet choices. So I'm gonna have the mac and cheese for dinner tonight because I had a salad for lunch. So balances out, right? I lost 3 pounds last week, so I'm okay eating that entire bag of Oreos this week because I just won't eat Oreos again next week. It's fine. We could, little things like that. We rationalize. Bigger things. We make financial decisions. Oh, I can't invest in that. It might be good for my career. It might be good for me personally, good for my business, but I just can't afford to do that right now. And yet we'll turn around and we'll buy the designer bag, the designer shoes, we'll remodel the bathroom, we'll buy a new piece of furniture, we'll invest in all kinds of things we don't actually need, and we rationalize it as a better expense than the one where we were actually investing in something that got us further to our goals, our dreams, or the life we want to live. We rationalize career choices. Well, it's not my dream job, but maybe someday it'll get there. Or, it pays well enough. The benefits are good. We make excuses. We rationalize our relationship choices. He's a really nice guy. He's a good guy. I could do worse. He doesn't beat me, but he's not the love of my life. But you can't have everything. Oh my gosh, how often do I hear that one? I can't have everything. I can't have a guy who's smart and funny and has a good job and loves me and adores me and is romantic. I can't have all that. I don't know who made these things up. Because you can. You absolutely can. What happens is we tolerate the good enough. We stay in the good enough, which just guarantees we never get the great. That's all that does. Well, it does more than that. Here's the thing. We know that we are in toleration mode. We know you are in the mode of good enough rationalization when you hear yourself using phrases like, it's complicated. Could be worse. Well, there's a lot of shades of gray. I'm lucky it's this good. These are the ways that we rationalize putting up with less than what we want, less than what we deserve, less than what we envision for ourselves and for our lives. We have all kinds of phrases. That's just a few of them that we use. But when you start hearing that in your head, know that you are at a place where you are justifying being less, doing less, and taking less than what you want, what you envision, and what you deserve. That's what we're doing. We are conditioned this way. We're raised this way, right? We are raised to put everybody else's needs first. We are raised to think that you can't have it all. You can't have this great, powerful career and be a good mom, or a good partner, or a good caretaker for your parents, and focus on you. We think we have to give up something. This whole concept that we have, people hear me complain about this all the time, this whole concept we have of work-life balance. There is no balance. There's life. Work is a part of life. Family and friends and relationships, they're all part of life. If we're continually trying to figure out a balance, we're going to make ourselves crazy, because that suggests that somewhere there's an equal pull of one or the other, and there isn't. On any given day, one of these things is going to take up more of your time and more of your energy. The question is, are you going to choose what that is, and are you going to help dictate and control what that is and what your life looks like, or are you going to let life happen to you? When we're in the good enough mode, we're on the hamster wheel, of making everything as even keel as we can because we're trying to support everybody else. When you are supporting what everybody else wants to have happen, first of all, there's no way everybody's happy. And second, you never get to great. You always just get to good enough. Good enough that this person isn't mad or isn't that mad. Good enough that I got enough of this done that nobody's going to yell at me or nobody's going to be disappointed. Or good enough, I've served everybody else's needs. I have nothing left for myself. When do you get tired of it? At what point do you decide it's not good enough? Number one thing that happens for us to finally make a change is when the pain outweighs the gain. When we are pushed to a place where we are so tired, so exhausted, so hurt, so angry, so something that we literally can't take it anymore. We are pushed into a mode where it feels like it's life or death, that we will crumble if we don't move forward and if we don't get out. That is typically what it takes to get us off this hamster wheel of mediocrity and make a change. I shared with you guys, I think yesterday I wrote that for me 15 years ago, I had one of those crushing moments when my mother handed me a photo she took of me, and it was the back of me, so couldn't see my face, and I didn't recognize me. I did not recognize that woman. I only knew it was me because I was holding the hand of a little girl who happened to be my daughter, and I recognized her. And I literally stared at that photo and went, what? That's who I am? I had not paid attention living in my world of good enough mediocrity. Had not really paid attention to how much weight I had put on, how much I was not taking care of myself mentally, emotionally, physically, or otherwise, how much I was kind of coasting in that moment, and needed to figure out what I want my life to look like. What was this going to be? That picture was a giant wake-up call for me to go, oh, that's not the woman. That's not the woman I see myself as, but now I can see in a picture what the world is seeing, and that's not who I want to be. But I was pushed to a place where I felt embarrassed. Embarrassed not so much because certainly my mother wasn't handing me the picture with any judgment at all, but embarrassed because it wasn't who I thought I was. I was embarrassed and ashamed of me, for me, of me, by me. Like that was all here. We don't have to be pushed to that point to make a change, but that often is what happens. We are often pushed to that point. Why? Because being on the hamster wheel of mediocrity, being in this world of tolerance where it's all just good enough, keeps us safe from two powerful emotions. One is fear. Fear that if I step off the wheel, if I step out of this comfort zone of things being okay, I'm taking a risk. Because if I reach for what's great, right? If I reach for what's really great, I risk failing and sinking into something even worse. That's why we rationalize with, well, it could be worse, and I don't want to go there. Yeah, it could be worse. It could be worse, and it could be a ton better. So fear stops us from stepping out of mediocrity, from stepping out of this zone of tolerance and everything's just okay, because we figure we'd rather live in okay than take the risk that while we reach for something really wonderful, we might crash and burn. Which ties to the second very powerful emotion, which is mistrust. We do not trust ourselves. We do not trust ourselves that should we not reach our goal, should it get worse, can we handle it? We're afraid. No, that would kill me. No, that would destroy me. Well, would it? Because so far, everything life has thrown at you, you've survived 100% of it. You are far more resilient than you think you are. You are far more resilient than you know. Because so far, life has not thrown something at you that has broken you yet, because you are here. You are here and you are thinking about, is good enough really good enough? And how do I move forward? What am I doing next? Right? This whole community is a community of ambitious women looking to do something next. To do that, we have to face the fear that, yeah, reaching for something great means we might fail, means it could get worse. But then we have to trust that we have everything we need to survive it and make it even better. To not just come up from whatever got worse to get back to good enough, but to actually succeed good enough and get it into great. We have to trust our resilience. We have to trust our experience, our intuition, everything we are, to know that we can make that happen. And that's pretty powerful. To face your fear is one of the toughest things we can do. And then to embrace the fact that you are enough exactly as you are, and you have everything you need in order to step away from mediocrity, to step away from this idea of good enough, and move forward into what you think is actually really freaking fantastic. So, how do you do this? Right? What gets you off that hamster wheel? Well, one, like I said, you can be pushed. You can be pushed to that place where you suddenly realize that you're never getting what you want unless you get off the hamster wheel. You're never getting what you want unless you make a change, and you have to make the change. But it starts with something that sounds so simple, and we are so trained not to do this. It starts with owning your desire. It starts with being okay that there are things that you want for you. It starts with being okay that you even have desires, because of our conditioning of being raised to take care of everybody else first, of being raised to pay attention to what everybody else wants and needs first, of even being in work environments where that's encouraged, right? We're taking care of team members, or we're taking care of our bosses, we're taking care of projects. We are conditioned, right? We are trained. We have patterns where that's where we go to first. We think we have to take care of everybody else before we take care of ourselves, which means our desires, they're not secondary. They're not even tertiary. They're like 10th on the list of things we're going to think about and address. So in order for us to get off this hamster wheel of tolerance, mediocrity, of it's good enough, we have to own our desires. We have to know we want something else. I want something different. I want to go after that thing. Here's the other thing. What pauses us from owning our desires, right? What stops us from owning our desires is sometimes we've lost touch with what those desires are. We don't know what we want anymore. That's probably one of the biggest things I hear. One of the most common things I hear from women that I work with is, I'm not even sure what I want. I'm not sure where I want to go. I'm not sure what I want my next career move to be. I'm not sure what's next for me, especially with empty nesters, because the identity of mom and caretaker is now shifted. The focus is shifted. And so now it's all about, what am I going to do? I don't even know who I am or what I want anymore. We start with owning our desire. If we don't know exactly what it is we want, we don't know what that next career move is, we don't know what the next empty nest adventure is, we don't really know if we want to launch our own business or go for a promotion or just retire and not work at all. Maybe we don't know exactly what our desire is. What you do know and where you start is with how you feel. How do you feel? How do you want to feel? If today you're feeling like it's good enough, it's okay. Is that what you want your life to look like going forward? Do you want to look back when you're on your front porch and you're 85 years old and look back and go, yeah, it was okay. It was good enough. Most of us don't, or we wouldn't be here. Getting in touch with what you want starts with getting in touch with, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel when you're 85 and sitting in that rocking chair? How do you want to feel on the journey to get there? Some of you are going to have this drive for, I want adventure and excitement, and I want this passionate love affair, and I want to travel, and I want all these things. I have all this energy and excitement going on, and I want that for my life. And some of you are going to have this, I want peace, I want serenity, I want calm. I want that comfort, that inner comfort of knowing that I'm in a good place. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter how you want to feel, I should say. It doesn't matter how you want to feel. You know that. You know what that is for you. The details are figuring out, okay, how do I get to that feeling of serenity and calm? How do I get to that life of adventure? But if you don't know yet what it is you want, what it is that's going to take you out of good enough, start with just how you want to feel. What is that? And then start stripping away the layers and building from there. So first move, own your desires. Own what it is you want, whether it's just the feeling you want or whether it's a very crystal clear plan. You want to be a mother and a rock star? Go be a mother and a rock star. Because by the way, there are actual rock stars out there who are also mothers. Can be done. Own your desire. Second thing you need to do. You need to choose when it's enough. This is about consciousness. This is about being aware that you are in the state of good enough and then choosing you don't want to live here anymore. Like I said earlier, we can get pushed, and this is what most often happens, right? We wait until we're pushed to the brink that we have to make a change because we cannot tolerate it another minute. You can do that. But you can also decide, yeah, I'm done with this. I am done with a life of, okay. And I want something different for myself. You don't have to wait until you have a powerful push where you feel like you're going to get crushed if you don't do something. You can choose it. So what I'm asking you to do is be aware it's a conscious choice. All the energy that you spend rationalizing why good enough is good enough, why it's okay that you're here and here is okay. All that energy you spend doing that, because you do. You justify it regularly in your mind. What if you took that energy and instead focused it on what could I do to make things better? What could I do to make things different? What if all that time you spent saying why you can't do the thing you want to do, you actually flipped around and said, okay, instead, let's think of 10 things I could do that move me a little bit closer to that goal. Because that's all you need to do is just move one little bit closer and one little bit closer and one little bit closer. By shifting that energy that says, it's good enough, you're lucky it is what it is, it's not so bad, into, okay, maybe it's not so bad, but it could be better. And here are a few things that could make it better. I'm going to go after that. That's a conscious choice. To shift yourself out of this place. We often refer to the good enough as a comfort zone. It's only comfortable because it's familiar. That's really all that is. It's really not comfortable because you're not getting what you want. You're not incredibly happy. You're not incredibly satisfied. You are comfortable enough because you're not in a ton of pain. Right? So it's really not as much a comfort zone as it is just a familiar zone. You know the people you're dealing with, you know the pieces, the places you're dealing with. It's really what it is. So I want you to ask yourself two questions. When I work with clients on shifting out of this level of energy where we are tolerating, we actually go through a full exercise where we are examining what's going on. So part of this exercise are two questions I'm going to share with you. The first question is, what is the benefit of staying where you are? What is the benefit of staying in good enough? Because there are benefits or you wouldn't be there, right? Maybe the benefit is, as long as you're on this hamster wheel and keeping everything even keel, your mother-in-law doesn't nag you. Or as long as you're doing this, your kids get to do all the extracurriculars they want to. Or you get to travel. There are benefits. What are they? Be really clear on what the benefits are that keep you in good enough. But the next question to ask yourself is, what is the cost of making a change? What is the cost of making the change? I've already identified that good enough gives me these benefits, but the whole premise of good enough, the whole premise of tolerating mediocrity is that it's you're tolerating it, but it's still not giving you what you want. It's giving you some benefits, but it's not giving you what you want. It's not giving you the life you want. So the next question is, if I am going to make this change, if I am going to find a new job, end my relationship, start a new relationship, if I am going to switch departments, launch my own business, whatever the change is, move, sell my house, whatever the change is, what does it cost you? Why are you hesitating? Because there's a cost involved, right? We get back to the risk. The great thing is, I'm going to have a great new house. What's the risk? The risk is maybe I don't sell it for as much as I want. Maybe I can't move into the neighborhood I want to. Maybe I lose all my friends and family in the neighborhood. There's a cost to the change you want to make. What is it? Those are two of the points you need to get clear on if the shift you're going to make out of tolerance is a big one. If this is a level of tolerance you've been stuck in for a while, and this comes up the most often, honestly, with jobs and relationships, you've stayed for a reason, and leaving is going to cost you something. What's the cost? We have to start weighing it out. The third thing you need to do, so let's just say you've owned your desire, and your desire is you want a new job. You've done the cost analysis, and you've looked at the fact that while this job pays me well and has good benefits, what it will cost me to leave is it will cost me extra time and effort to job hunt. It will cost me facing my fear because I'm not sure if I can get the job I really want to go for, but I haven't tried yet. It's going to cost me possibly some of my relationships with my coworkers. They may be mad that I leave, right? What are the costs? You decide that it's time to do it anyway. You consciously decide, but I'm not going to wait till I hate the job and I hate my coworkers. I'm going to make the change now. I'm going to own this. I'm going to own my desire, and I'm going to control this. Then the third thing you need to do is make a plan. Got to make a plan. What is the phrase? Plan the work, work the plan. Because here's what we're talking about with these patterns. Patterns are ingrained in us. They're conditioned in us over time. When we're living in a stage of good enough, we've probably been living there for a long, we've been at that job for a while. We've been, or if not that specific job, we've been in those types of jobs for periods of time. We've been in that relationship for a while, or we've had the same kind of like repeating relationships, right? It's like we're dating the same guy. He just has a different name and a different pair of jeans. We repeat those patterns. If you've decided it's enough, you have to make a plan for how you're going to break the pattern. Because breaking patterns are not easy, and we cannot do them alone. We cannot do it without a plan. So part of your plan is figuring out, is this a mindset shift? Do I have to think differently about myself and my capabilities, and that's what's holding me back? So maybe I need to figure out a new way to think about this issue, this relationship, this project. Is it a habitual issue? So if you're thinking about things like diet and exercise, a lot of times those are physical daily habits. Maybe instead of waking up every morning and having my cup of coffee and a cinnamon roll, I should replace the cinnamon roll with oatmeal. And I'm going to make the transition a little easier by putting cinnamon in my oatmeal, right? Baby steps. But we replace habits, and we do them in baby steps. The third piece might be what you need to shift. A little bit of mindset, maybe a little bit of habit, but really it's a new target. So if I've decided I need a new job and I need to go after that, then I need to first wrap my head around the fact that I'm going to make this choice to do something different. That's a little bit scary because I don't know what the unknown is. I don't know what I'm walking into. I'm going to make a shift in my daily habit, my daily routine, to make sure that every day I devote 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it is, to job hunting. But 3, to even get started, I got to plan it, because this is where I get into overwhelm. Because this is where, holy cow, I have to update my resume. My resume has to be perfect. I have to update my LinkedIn profile because everybody's looking at LinkedIn right now. Then I got to go scour the jobs, and there's a zillion jobs out there between Indeed and LinkedIn and all these other sites. And, you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Job hunting is probably the single most soul-sucking activity on the planet, right? Nowhere else is our ego just nakedly on the line. And random strangers, we feel like, are judging us based on a piece of paper that we're never sure if it's perfect. Right there, thinking about that, you go into overwhelm. That is too much to deal with. I'm going right back to good enough. And I get it. I've been there, done that. We all have. So what do? You make a plan, and the plan is baby steps. I'm going to start with just updating my resume. I'm putting 30 minutes on my calendar. I'm putting it on my calendar for Thursday, and all I'm going to do is update the resume, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be updated. Once that's updated, then I'm going to put another 30 minutes on my calendar, and I'm going to go update LinkedIn. I haven't even looked for a job yet. I'm not even there yet. I am breaking down the project into tasks that do not overwhelm me, and one at a time. So your 3 moves for getting out of good enough or okay and into something better, because you know there's something better, is own what you want, own the desire. It's choose to make the change. Choose to step away off the hamster wheel and to make a change. And then it's make a plan. Once you've decided that you know what you desire and you're going to make a change, you've got to make the plan. That plan includes people, by the way. That plan includes accountability partners of some kind. It includes a cheerleader. It includes somebody that you call when you're feeling stressed. It includes a coach, a mentor, somebody who is there to help you get through the hard parts. Because when we're making changes, there are always hard parts. We have this thing in our head that says we should be able to do it ourselves. We should be strong enough if we just had more willpower. I talked about willpower. Was that last week, the week before? It's not about willpower. It's about making a plan. And it's about having the support system in place, both the processes and the people. Why do you need to do this? Why? Because good enough is good enough, right? Good enough, inherent in the words good enough, is the definition that it's actually not. It's not good enough. It's not okay. When we qualify something as good enough, we are saying, this isn't what I want. This isn't great. It isn't wonderful. It isn't cool. It isn't fantastic. It's not even close to magnificent. It's just okay. We have defined it already just by saying it's okay or it's good enough as not being what we want, which means we already know. There's something out there that we do want. There's something out there that is bigger and better and that feeds our soul, that feeds our heart, that makes us happy. This just isn't it. In the definition, when you say those words, it's good enough, it's okay, it could be worse. Maybe it could be better, but it could be worse. It's complicated. We are rationalizing the fact that we know there's something more we want, and we're not making a move. So before you spend all that energy rationalizing why you're not making a move, spend a little energy figuring out what moves could you make that get you a little bit closer to whatever that thing is that you do want. So that is tonight's training on good enough and why good enough is not good enough. I would love to see comments, questions, your thoughts on this. This is a big topic. Literally, like I said, when I coach with clients on this a lot, because this is big. This is big changes, big habits, new perspective. So there's tons more that we could say about it. But we're at the end of our time, so I'm going to wrap up by saying I have 2 quick announcements for you guys. One, we're in a 5-day challenge. If you guys have joined us, yay, thank you. If you haven't, it's not too late. We're on the 2nd day of the 5-day challenge. The 5-day challenge is let's go after it. It's all about starting the year off strong. Let's go after it, accelerate your career. 5-day challenge. We are going through 5 leadership skills, working your leadership muscles to kick off 2021 so that you are not stuck in good enough and you are taking those steps to go after it. Whatever it is, whatever you want, we're laying that foundation. So if you'd like to join the challenge, drop challenge in the chat and I'll make sure that we get you in. It's going on this week. We just started on Monday, so today we're on the 2nd day, goes through Friday. Second announcement, masterclass. Next masterclass is coming up Thursday, January 14th. It is 5 power moves to lead with confidence and ditch imposter syndrome. Because those 2 things are so related, and they're so related to how we lead in our leadership skills. So if you're ready to Ditch imposter syndrome, which tells us we're not good enough and that we can't, and it rationalizes all the reasons that we play small. And you're ready to build up some confidence. Join my masterclass. It's going to be Thursday, the 14th of January, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll start seeing the postings and announcements for it this week in the group. And I would just love to see you there. I'd love to see you there as we talk about how we step in and own what we desire. And then we take ambitious action to make sure that we make it happen. Have a fabulous night, you guys. Thanks for joining me on Training Tuesday, and I will see you in the group.